In the heart of the savannah, where the earth breathes secrets and the wind whispers forgotten names, lies a village cradled by ancient baobab trees. Time here does not march forward. It flows in circles, like the great river that gives it life. For generations, the elders have spoken of legends, of spirits that walk in the moonlight, and of destinies woven into the fabric of the land. But some stories are never spoken aloud. They are carried in the silence between heartbeats, in the shadows that dance at the edge of the firelight. This is one such story, a tale of a beauty so profound it bordered on the divine, and a curse as old as the mountains themselves. It is a story that begins with a hush, a shared glance of fear and wonder, and a destiny that would forever change the soul of the village. She arrived with the morning mist, a young woman whose name was never known, for to name her was to claim a piece of a mystery too vast to hold. Her beauty was not of this world. It was a disquieting perfection, a living sculpture carved from starlight in river clay. Her eyes held the depth of the night sky, and her skin glowed with a light that seemed to come from within. She walked in silence, her feet barely touching the dusty earth, and with every step, the village held its collective breath. The women would stop their work, their hands frozen above their grinding stones, their gazes a mixture of awe and resentment. The children would fall quiet, their games abandoned, their small faces turned towards the silent wonder. She was a living myth, a beautiful wound in the heart of their community. She offered no words, only a presence that was as magnificent as it was unsettling. The air around her hummed with a strange energy, a silent song that promised everything and nothing at all. Her allure was a moth's flame, an irresistible pull towards a beautiful demise. The village's strongest hunter, whose spear never missed its mark, found his gaze lost in hers. He followed her shadow until he himself became one. His prized spear found abandoned at the river's edge, but of him, there was no trace. Next, a weaver of tales, whose words could charm the stars from the sky, fell under her spell. He tried to capture her essence in a story, but his voice faltered, his mind emptied, until all he could do was stare, his gift of language lost to the silence she commanded. Then came a man of great wealth, who owned more cattle than there were stars in a moonless night. He offered her everything, laying beads and fabrics at her feet. The next morning, his cattle had wandered off into the wild, his wealth scattered like dust in the wind, and he was left a broken man, muttering to himself in the shade of a thorn tree. A quiet terror began to grip the village. She was not a woman, she was a harbinger. Her beauty was a poison, a curse that stripped men of their strength, their gifts, their very souls, leaving only hollow shells behind. But in the village lived a man named Kalo. He was not a hunter, nor a storyteller, nor a man of wealth. He was a carver of wood. His hands were gentle, his spirit calm, his heart unburdened by ambition. He did not look at her with the fire of possession that burned in other men's eyes. He saw not an object of beauty to be conquered, but a silent sorrow. He did not approach her. Instead, he began to carve. Day after day, he sat under the marula tree, his knife whispering against the wood. He carved the birds that sang at dawn, the patient chameleon on a branch, the gentle curve of a river stone. He carved the world as he saw it simple, true, and alive. One day, she stopped and watched him. Her gaze lingered not on him, but on the small wooden bird taking flight from his hands. For the first time, a flicker of something other than emptiness crossed her face. A silent conversation began between them, spoken not in words, but in shared moments of quiet creation. A fragile hope began to bloom in the dust, a love born not of desire, but of understanding. One night, as the full moon hung like a silver eye in the sky, Kalo felt a pull towards the sacred river. He followed the path, his heart beating a steady, quiet rhythm. There, by the water's edge, stood the village elder, a woman whose eyes held the wisdom of 1,000 rains. She was chanting in the old tongue, her voice weaving a tapestry of ancient knowledge. And beside her was the silent woman, her body shimmering under the moonlight, her feet touching the sacred water. The elder motioned for Kalo to approach. She pointed to the surface of the river, where the moon's reflection trembled. In the water, images swirled into view not of the present, but of a time long past. They saw a celestial spirit, a daughter of the moon, who loved a mortal man. Their love was forbidden by the ancient laws of the sky. As punishment, she was cursed to walk the earth, her divine beauty a weapon that would drain the life force of any man who desired her for his own gain. She was doomed to wander alone, a beautiful void, until she found a love pure enough to see the spirit within, not the vessel it inhabited. The revelation settled over Kylo, not with fear, but with a profound sadness and clarity. He was not in love with a woman, but with a captive soul. He understood then what had to be done. The elder explained the choice. The curse could be broken, but it required a sacrifice of true love. To free her, he had to give up the very thing that made his love pure, his gift. He had to forsake his carving, the quiet joy that connected his soul to the world, the very language through which he had reached her. It was a choice between his own spirit's expression and hers. He looked at her, standing in the moonlight, her eyes pleading for a release she could not ask for. He picked up his favorite carving knife, the one that felt like an extension of his own hand, and without hesitation, he laid it on the ritual stone. Then he took her hand. It was the first time they had ever touched. As their fingers intertwined, a great wind howled through the valley. The river thrashed against its banks, and the moon hid behind a veil of violent clouds. A silent scream of light erupted from their joined hands, bright and blinding. And then, as suddenly as it began, it was over. An absolute profound silence fell. The wind calmed to a whisper, the river gentled, and the clouds parted, bathing them in a soft, peaceful moonlight. When dawn broke, the village awoke to a world transformed. The air felt lighter, cleansed. Kylo stood by the river, his hands empty but his heart full. The woman was gone. Not vanished, but changed. In her place stood a young woman of simple, human beauty. The unnerving glow was gone, replaced by a warm, gentle light in her eyes. For the first time she smiled, a true and genuine smile that reached her eyes. Her name, she said, was Amara, which meant grace. She was no longer a myth or a curse. She was a person. The village was at peace. Beauty was no longer a thing to be feared or possessed, but a simple part of life's tapestry. Kylo never carved again, but he didn't need to. He had found a deeper connection, a love that was not about creating things, but about freeing a soul. The elders now tell this story, not as a warning, but as a lesson. They say that true beauty is never a thing to be owned, and true love is not what you take, but what you are willing to give away. It is a reminder that the greatest treasures are not those we hold in our hands, but those we set free. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your spirit, consider subscribing for more tales from the heart of the world.